Morning Joe and the Pro, or the Schmo as we call our Friday show. A whole lot of rhymes there. I'm a poet.
And you don't know it.
Oh, no, I know it. Oh, I know it well. A little bit sick today. My eyes look terrible, so no, I am not wasted.
Maybe you'd feel better.
True that, brother, true that. But I was up really late last night, and I had to do a couple of shows already this morning. You wouldn't know how that goes, Marco. You're not in demand.
No, not at all. Not at all. I've logged more YouTube minutes and radio minutes over the history of WagerTalk than you by a landslide, sir.
Yeah, the problem is WagerTalk doesn't demand you. You are a part owner. You just put yourself on those shows.
Oh, is that it? Okay. Good to see you, buddy. Good to see you. Missed you all week.
Yeah, me too, dude. I was in New York, had some business meetings. Hopefully something will happen as a result. And yeah, just getting ready for the Super Bowl. I got a huge poker tournament I've organized. 60 guys. We're going to an underground poker room, 5 or 6 TV sets, food. Anybody in Toronto who wants to come, email me, prez@wagertalk.com.
I didn't get my invite.
Yeah, I was just going to say, Marco, you're actually not invited.
Yeah, thanks.
Well, we want a level poker playing field. You're below our level.
Mr. How many bullets do I fire per tournament?
Mr. I can afford to do that. Marco D'Angelo, it's Super Bowl Sunday in 2 days, and then the NFL season is over. And I'll tell you something, Marco. We both love the NFL. We love college football. It's great for business. But when I get to around this time of year, the NFL reminds me of Vegas. I want to go, and I want it to end.
Oh, I've seen you. You don't want it to end. You have too much fun when you're out. You've had more fun on your trips to Vegas in the last 4 years since WagerTalk and getting to run around and play cards with me and everything else than you've had in your past trips.
Okay, fair enough. But I'm excited for the NFL season to end. I need a break, dude. I mean, we work so hard from August to now. We'll have like a couple of weeks off, and then it's get ready for March Madness. And then finally, the summer will be upon us, at least in Toronto. But I got a lot of trips planned. I'm away February 10th to the 15th in Florida. Get back. I'm sick. Get back 3 weeks later, off to a ski trip in Park City. Get back 2 weeks after that, off to Whistler with my youngest for more skiing. Life is good, Marco.
Yeah, I got to talk to my agent. I got to redo my contract here. You're going all over the country skiing and having fun. I think our man in Detroit, Johnny's going on a nice long cruise. And yeah, I'll be here holding down the fort as usual, sir.
As you should be, Marco. You've got to add something to this group.
Yeah, that's it.
So we're going to talk Super Bowl, side and total, and a whole bunch of props?
We are. And if I can get my little fella over here, I'll tell you who we're using. Chip, come here. You want to make an appearance? Come here. Let everybody know who we're using in the Super Bowl. We are going with the underdog. We're going to be taking the LA Rams. Tell him, Chip. That's Uncle Prez. I know. His hair looks just like yours.
What a cute little dog, Marco.
We just got him. Lori's longtime dog passed away just before Christmas. So you might have remembered Marco Claus in videos at WagerTalk. Marco Claus got Lori a new puppy. So
what a nice guy. What kind of dog is it?
It is a Pomadoodle. It's a cross between a poodle and a Pomeranian.
Yeah, I think everyone could have figured that one out. Thank you, Marco.
No problem.
So it's going to be roughly around 10 pounds.
Exactly. And he barks every time I come in the house late at night. I have no more being able to sneak in and Lori being sleeping. I come in at 4 from playing cards and she's out and say I was out at 1 because he's like an alarm system.
Okay, so you'll need to make some adjustments. Marco, before we get into it real quick, I'm I'm on a big NHL run, and I have a 5-unit play up at WagerTalk for Friday. I love this. This is one of my favorite plays of the year in hockey. It's up at WagerTalk. It's $30 for everybody watching. Use the promo code Prez NHL10, PREZ NHL10. It's yours for $10, and this is a must. It's a must-play game for me. I absolutely love it. It's a big slate of NHL tonight, and I've singled out a total that I'm actually laying. I bet somewhere between 2 and 4 or 5% on each game, and this is as high a bet as I'm going to be making in hockey this year.
Nice. I will have to, when we get off the air, I'll find out who that is, and so I can have a little rooting interest tonight, watching the games when I'm in a poker room somewhere around town.
There you go. Well, good luck, brother. Let's get into it. So you're on the Rams. I like the Rams as well. It feels to me like all the people I'm speaking to, the wise people, if you will, we all like the Rams, yet the Pats are taking about 73% of the action right now.
Well, it's going to be that way, Prez. It's Tom Brady and it's Bill Belichick. I mean, who wants to step in front of them in a, basically pick the winner situation? If you talk to the sharps that we all, deal with in around town, people that have power ratings, we all put this at the Rams should be a slight favorite in this game. But because the Vegas knows what the public market's going to do, they did open it up. Rams won. That lasted all of about 15 minutes as everybody started pounding New England right away, knowing where this line was going to go. And it continued to roll until they got to -2.5. We had a couple books here in Vegas. The first to move it to 3 was the South Point. They did that on Tuesday this week, but it lasted all of 17 minutes at 3. They got the money coming in right back on the Rams as soon as they hit 3. There are 2 books in town right now that have back to 3, but you're laying juice. If you want to take the 3, you're laying -120.
Yeah, I like them on the money line, Marco. I mean, you just mentioned how, how they should be the slight favorite in this game, and I agree with you. So, 2, 3, it doesn't really matter to me. And, we had Teddy on the NFL presidential address this week. That's a must-watch show, guys. Me, Teddy, and Kelly. We really take this game apart from every angle, and I think the show is pretty funny. But Teddy mentioned only 2 favorites in the last 10 Super Bowls have covered. So, I mean, you're literally picking the winner here. So I actually don't care whether it's the Rams at -2, +2.5 or 3. I'm picking the winner, and I'm picking the Rams. I've already discussed a lot of my prop bets. I'll mention a few that I like, but I'm going to hand it over to you, brother.
Yeah, I'm going to give you guys some here that I like. And, when you're doing your props, it's an extension of your handicap of the game, obviously. But what I try to tell people when they're doing their props is don't make your whole prop portfolio tied around one thing that you think is going to happen in the game. Because, obviously, if you're wrong, you're going to be wrong the entire way down the slate. And you don't want to have a disastrous Super Bowl. But I like the Rams. So I have to look at the game plan. And what do I think is going to happen in this game? Well, we know in the last 2 games, the Patriots have run the football very well. That's not going to happen in this game, not against the Rams' defensive line. You got Donald and Sue. Sue's playing his best ball of the year right now in the playoffs. And that's a spot where I don't think the Patriots are going to be able to run the football successfully. So that puts me right at my first prop. I'm going to go to Sonny Michel, and I'm going to go under the rushing yards, a 77.5. Here's a guy that has been tearing it up in the playoffs, but they're not going to get him the number of carries that he needs in this game, I think, to get to that number. So that's my first prop. The second prop is, what do I think the Patriots are going to do? And I know all too well because my Steelers face the Patriots basically every year. Whether it's the regular season or the playoffs, they hook up. And what Belichick has done so well against the Steelers in the years past, Prez, is he spreads the field. He slows down that pass rush. And what he does is goes 4 and 5 wide with receivers, puts running backs, in wide receiver slots and stuff. And what this does, it's basically an extension of the running game, but it's a short passing game. So I think you're going to see a lot of that. So I got 2 props that tie into that thinking. You've got Brady over 38.5 attempts, and you've got Brady over 26.5 completions. Those are 2 props that tie again together and along with what I think is going to happen in the game. Team to score first. Now, this is one of those ones that's basically a coin flip, but you're laying 120 with New England. We know the history of New England's slow starts in the Super Bowls and everything, but I think they are going to be the one that scores first here. And here's why. You've got the experience factor with Belichick and Brady. You've got Jared Goff making his first start. He's got to have some butterflies playing on this stage to come out there for the first time. I think that their first drive's not going to result in a score for the Rams. I'm going to go ahead and go with New England to be the first team to score, and I'll lay the 120 with that one. And then with that same thinking, I'm going to talk about first half versus second half in scoring. The first half of a Super Bowl generally, one, the history of the Patriots being low scoring, and 2, it's like a prize fight. Guys come out, in a heavyweight fight. They're feeling each other out. That's what you have so often in these Super Bowls. And then the scoring picks up as everybody gets accustomed into the game and makes adjustments. I'm going to take the second half for the higher scoring half. Now that one we're laying a little bit of juice, minus 145, but I think that is an excellent bet because history has shown me with that one, that is the way to go. And the last one I'm going to go with, I'm going to look at Jared Goff. What do I think the Rams are going to do here? Well, I think you can run the football against the Patriots up the middle. You got C.J. Anderson. We don't know what we're going to get out of Todd Gurley, but he's had 14 days. When he had 3 weeks, 21 days before the Dallas game, the first game of the playoffs, he had his best game. It was close to Todd Gurley that we saw during the regular season. The last game, not so much, obviously, but that was only 7 days. So he's going to be somewhere in between what he did in the Saints game, which was nothing, and what he did in the Dallas game, which was be very effective. So if they're going to run the football, I think Jared Goff is not going to have as many yards passing. And I'm going to take Jared Goff under passing yards. And this was at 285.5, but I actually think it's gone up a little bit. But I liked it at 285.5. So anything you get it over that and take the under is a play. And that's where I'm looking at this Super Bowl.
He's Marco D'Angelo. I'm the Prez. You're watching Morning Joe and the Pro. You can find us on WagerTalk TV every Monday to Friday. Teddy's on every Monday. Marco's on every Friday. And we change the guests up Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And, of course, you can check us all out at WagerTalk.com. Don't forget to get down on my 5-star NHL play tonight. Use the promo code PREZ NHL5. Marco, I'm going to run through a bunch of my props.
All right.
It's the same props I've given out all week, but not everybody listens to every show.
No, they tune in for the Friday one.
Yeah, that's right. So I'll interrupt me if you want to talk about any of these in particular, but sure. I'm going to race through them real quick. Like you, like Teddy, Gabe Morency, I was on his show this morning. He agrees. Ralph, Tony, highest scoring half is going to be the second half.
I agree 100%, and that's the most common sense play.
Yep. Total pass yards. I'm going to actually take over 565 in the game. I think we're going to actually see a bit of a shootout in that second half where we'll get back a lot of the yards that made us nervous going into halftime on that bet. Total rush yards. I'm going with under 52.5. I agree with your sentiment about New England. I think they're going to run the ball 6-7 out of 10 times for the first couple of drives. And then I think we're going to see a very short passing game coming out of the Pats till the end. Probably my top 3 prop, Marco, total sacks under 3.5. We're actually getting some money on this at plus 110 when I bet it a couple of days ago. The Pats haven't been sacked at all. Brady hasn't been sacked this playoff, and that includes playing against the number one sacking team in the league in Kansas City. Hey, we got 3 extra sacks, and we still win this bet, Marco. I don't think Brady's going to get sacked. If he gets sacked, it'll be 1 or 2 times.
He has one of the quickest releases,
right,
in the league.
Yeah, and New England really doesn't have that great a pass rush, so I really like that bet. Total rush yards, Sexy Rexy at under 19.5. We saw him get over that last game, but if you go back through the years, he could carry the ball 3 times tomorrow, and he's not on Sunday, and he's not exactly going to break a bunch of tackles. This is their short yardage back, and there's so many variables for him to go over that number because you honestly don't know how many times he's going to touch the ball. It could be 0 as a runner and a couple of times out of the backfield. So, yeah, under 19.5. First quarterback to reach 100 yards. I like Goff here. And you alluded to this, Marco. If New England doesn't run, and they will, I think, at the beginning of the game, and we saw that against the Chargers and Kansas City. If they don't run, Brady's going to be throwing 5 to 8 yard passes. James White on the wheel route, Edelman a slant or in the slot. So I think, we have a situation where the Rams are going to make longer plays. When the Rams complete plays, Robert Woods is averaging over 15 yards a possession. That's a first down every time he touches the ball. Brandon Cook stretches the field. Gurley can break a tackle at any time. There's just more opportunity for Goff to get to that 100 yards faster than Brady, in my opinion.
I agree with that one.
I like distance, shortest field goal. I like under 25.5 yards because I feel like, at least in the first half, I don't think we're going to see a shootout. And as a result, I don't think a team's going to be behind too much. And a 4th and 1 from the 8-yard line is going to result in a field goal and not a go-for-it 4th down conversion. So I'll
jump in there for 1 second. The only problem with that is you have 2 math guys that if you do get a 4th and 1, you better hope it's a 4th and 3, because if it's a 4th and less than 2, you got 2 math guys that like to play the numbers and go for the first down instead of kicking the field goal. That's the only thing on that.
Yeah, well, you saw New England screw that up against Kansas City last week, 2 weeks ago. I like most time of possession New England. I actually really like this prop, and it's in keeping with what you're talking about and
exactly
what I'm talking about, and that is that New England's drives are just going to be longer. If there's a team that's going to put up a touchdown on a 1 minute 30 drive, it's going to be the Rams. If there's a team that puts a touchdown on the board at a 9.5 minute drive, it's going to be New England. I think New England's going to hold the ball longer. That doesn't mean they're going to score more points. But, with the running and the short passing, I just think they're going to hold the ball. Most passing yards, I like the Rams here. You and I think, have a bit of a disagreement there. I actually think the Rams are going to throw the ball more than they are going to run the ball. I think what we've seen with Belichick, year in and year out, game in and game out, is he's going to pick one thing to stop, and he's going to hone in on that. And given that we have a rookie quarterback for the Rams, I think he's going to stack the box, and I think he's going to dare Goff to beat him. A couple of big money props. James White to get 2 or more touchdowns at plus 800. Offhand, I think James White has scored a touchdown in every ever since he joined, in every Super Bowl that the Pats are in. And I think, again, with Brady not stretching the field with his arm, I think you're going to see a lot of James White. I actually like James White over, I think, 4.5 catches in this game as well. But at plus 800, that's a decent bet for me. Aaron Donald at plus 175 to not get a sack. That's in keeping with what we spoke about. Brady just doesn't get sacked often. And no sacks in the game, Marco, at 20-1. I think this is a great bet. 20-1, with Brady never getting sacked. And I think, Goff is playing against a team that doesn't have a major pass rush. I think it's worth the money. I like also.
I'll jump in on that one. That one I disagree with. I think they'll get to Goff at least once. And the being with that is at some point in time, there's going to be a situation where there'll be a 3rd and long, and they're going to sell out the Patriots at Goff. And Goff, being a rookie, is not going to want to throw an interception and will end up taking a sack not to make the bad play. That's the only thing. But it's a 20-1.
Well, that's the point, right? So, am I going to sit here and disagree with you? No. But at 20-1, I'm willing to take the gamble. And really, the last one is James Devlin to score a touchdown, plus 1,200. Expect the unexpected with Belichick, especially in the Super Bowl. And I see them, 3rd and 1 from the goal line. Sony Michel in the backfield in an eye position, and they just do a quick handoff to Devlin for the score. And as Ralph mentioned, every time Devlin has touched the ball in a game, it's resulted in a touchdown. Yeah. So at plus 1,200, I like that from a value perspective too. That's really it for my props. I'm going to take a few fun props. I really like to play the double result. I like to play the tie New England and then the tie the Rams, because both of them are playing around 18-1. So if we can get the tie in at halftime, boy, do we have a hedge opportunity set up for that second half.
Yeah, that's definitely a fun prop, and you're getting a big number. Now, let me ask you, when you're doing these ones with the big prices, are you playing all of your props for the same amount, or some of these fun ones, are you doing them, say, half of what you would be doing?
Yeah, it's a great question. So look, I've ranked my props for me, right? So I'm going to be, the prop that I'm going to be making the largest wager on is the highest scoring half, being the second half. Then under 3.5 sacks. Then Rex Burkhead under 19.5. Goff at plus 100 to get to 100 yards. So those will be sort of the ones that I make the most on. I risk the most on. As far as the no sacks at plus 2,000. If I'm betting $100 on each of the big props, I'm betting like $10 on that.
Okay.
So I could win more, but my risk is very low.
Right. Minimize the exposure.
Yeah, but Marco, the bottom line is, and I think I speak on behalf of you, myself, and all the handicappers at WagerTalk, we're not going into the Super Bowl trying to make a whole lot of money. We've got NHL going and college basketball and NBA going, and a bet's a bet, brother. I'm not stepping out because it's the Super Bowl. I could care less that it's the Super Bowl. I will likely have 5 times the money that I'm putting on the Super Bowl on my 5 start tonight.
Exactly.
I'll have more money on college basketball on Sunday than I will on the Super Bowl. So, this isn't a money-making proposition for me.
I will say that for the advantage players here in Vegas, the props is big business for them. And a couple tips that I will give our listeners, and this is what the people do. And I'm sure you talked with Teddy earlier in the week about this. The situation with last Thursday night, the Westgate. They brought out their props. They had over 400 props, Prez. They brought them out at 7 o'clock. You could get in line. You were only allowed to bet 2 props at a time for a max of $2,000 on each bet. Then you get out of line, get back in. You can do that as many times as you want, but you can only bet 2 at a time because they wanted everybody to have a chance at the opening numbers. In the 3 hours that they did that on opening night, did you know how much money they took in?
No.
In that 3 hours? $4 $400,000 worth of wagers in a 3-hour period. And now they're well over 1.2 million in handle on the props. Now, those guys that were in line betting on Thursday night, those aren't average Joes. Those are the sharps here in Vegas taking advantage of things. And I can tell you, even though any pro will tell you, bet more unders than overs with your props, on Thursday night, they were betting a lot of overs because it was the first numbers. And they know that when the tourists get to town over the weekend, they're all betting the overs, and they're going to come back and slam the unders on game day and have nice middles and have where they really wanted to bet the game to begin with.
Well, and listeners, make sure to watch Kelly's video that she did yesterday with John at the Westgate, the bookmaker at the Westgate. He really goes into that and explains, I mean, when you're looking at something like, for instance, over in yards for the quarterbacks, you know, they came out and released at 280, 285. I mean, it's all the way up to 305 right now, give or take. That gives people a 20-yard middle, and the same is happening with the rush attempts and the Brandon Cook's total passing yards. Yeah, I mean, there are middle opportunities everywhere, Marco. And, of course, I made some prop bets right off the bat, waiting for that exact situation myself. But I don't live in Vegas. I don't have the 30 out opportunities. But yeah, I get it, brother. I get it. Listen, dude, let's call it a show. Anything else you want to leave our listeners with?
No, everybody, last week we told everybody about that hot streak in college basketball. The hot streak capped at 22-6. We've lost 3 college basketball plays in a row. Stop the presses. We're on a 22-9 run. It happens, but it's been a great college basketball season, and we'll be picking it back up tomorrow. Big weekend of action, both college, NBA, Super Bowl, and props. I'll have more props in my package on Sunday. We'll be continuing to add to those all weekend because, as you said, the lines are changing, and as these numbers continue to go up, we'll find the values, and I'll be adding more props all the way up till Sunday morning.
He's Marco D'Angelo. I'm the Prez. That's Morning Joe and the Pro. Make sure to watch Puck Time today. We have a full slate of NHL games. Myself, Alex, and Andrew. It's up at WagerTalk TV. Marco, best of luck Sunday. Enjoy the day, most importantly. Send my love to your wife, and we'll speak to you later.
All right, stay warm up there. It's 60 here in Vegas, buddy.
Okay, ciao, buddy.
All right, have a good one.
Okay, good show, Marco.
All right, thanks, man. Talk to you later.
Ciao.